And a good Wednesday morning, Quad Cities. The time right now is 9 o'clock. You know what that means? It is time for Ask Andrew Live, where we are taking all of your weather-related questions and answering them live. We're also going to be talking about, of course, our winter storm that is going to be moving through as we speak right now. Thanks for joining us. It is Wednesday, March 5th here, and quite a storm system this has been indeed, where we have everything from heavy rain yesterday. Now we're talking about rain switching to snow, and eventually we're going to bring in some winds that could potentially exceed 60 miles an hour as we get into this afternoon. I'm meteorologist Andrew Stutzke, of course. Weather anchor Peter Warner will be joining me in just a few moments. He's finishing up with his anchor duties there at our sister station in Des Moines, keeping them advised. And my goodness, have they had a time out there. A large chunk of Interstate 80 has been closed, by the way, in central Iowa. We'll go over that coming up in just a second. If this is your first time here, welcome. It is an exclusive to the WQ80 A+ streaming app. And if you are watching us from Facebook and you don't have our app yet, it's free to download and watch on your TV. So go ahead and grab it if you've got a smart TV. How this works is we're going to talk about weather. In fact, we're going to spend quite a bit of time today talking about this storm coming in because it is a high impact event. And then we're going to leave some time at the end for your questions. You can get those questions to me by texting them to 309-304-0888. If you're on the Facebook feed, you can also ask your questions there too. We'll round them all up and we'll answer them near the end. If there's any we do not get to, no worries. There's always time for next week's episode as well. So let's get right to it. Talk about this storm system that's coming in right now. As I just told you, that we're seeing the transition from rain to snow, and that is occurring from west to east. So I'll give you a live look at what's going on with the interstate here. This is the Interstate 80 corridor. We are starting to see that snowfall here in the metro Quad Cities. I want you to see what's going on in Iowa City because that's the reduction in visibility that we've been talking about all morning long. We're going to get these heavier bursts of snow that will reduce visibility to less than a mile. And in addition to that, the heavy snow falling, it's falling within winds that are gusting up already to 50 miles an hour. So that visibility very limited at times, and that's going to continue to have an impact on the rest of travel this morning. I'm going to go around to our local cameras. It's still raining by all indications right now in Clinton. I'm not seeing any snowflakes, at least from our camera there. Also still seeing rain in Rock Falls from our view there. I want to take you to our Bridgepoint camera really quick, and then we'll hop over to Moline. We did have some snow earlier, but it looks like we're trying to switch back to some rain on the Bridgepoint. Brandy, our director, telling me we have something interesting on the Moline Eagle Eye, and interesting indeed. Look at that. You've got the snowflakes, some big ones too. You know, Peter was outside just a while ago telling me how large these snowflakes were that were falling. There's a lot of moisture wrapped up with this storm system, so we're getting those really big sizable flakes that are falling right now. And eventually we're going to see this become all snow as we go throughout the morning. And then we're going to talk about the wind. So be careful. Could be some slick roads here in the next few hours before things come to an end. Let's talk about the wind now and who's got what in terms of these warnings and advisories. So if you're in that gold color, that is the high wind warning, which is now in play until 9 o'clock this evening. If you're in that taupe or that tan color, I've been calling it, which is east of the Quad Cities, that's where we have a wind advisory also until 9 o'clock this evening. The difference, if you're in the warning, it's 60+ mile per hour wind gusts. If you're in the advisory, it's 50+ mile per hour wind gusts. Either way you look at it, those are some powerful winds that are going to be moving through. And it is literally a wall of wind that's going to be coming in. And you can see that wind, strong surge of it is stacked vertically from north to south, and it's moving east. We've already got winds gusting close to 40 here in the metro, close to 50 miles per hour in Des Moines and Ottumwa, and at times those same locations have been gusting well in excess of 50 miles an hour. The other alert we have to talk to you about is this winter weather advisory. There's a lot of things to keep track of this morning, so I'm trying to walk you through this step by step. Why the winter weather advisory? It is not for the amount of snow, but it's the fact that the snow is coming down heavily with some very strong winds that's going to reduce your visibility. Notice the Quad Cities is included in that, and it's from now until 3 o'clock this afternoon. I agree with that. I think by 3 o'clock, the snow will be coming to an end, and then our primary focus is just going to be on the strong winds. So let's take a little bit of a radar tour, shall we? It shows that transition from rain to snow. Let's start with areas to the north, up near Galena, Dubuque, and into Bellevue and Maquoketa. It appears we've got all snow ongoing at this time. Savannah just moments away from seeing the snow, transitioning from the rain. We took you to Clinton just a few moments ago. Can confirm the radar is matching up well, that it is still raining there, and it's also still raining into the Sauk Valley, Prophetstown, Sterling Rock Falls, and the like. Rain switching to snow just moments away in Geneseo. I'll have to check with my video doorbell, see if I can see any camera on the camera there with some snowflakes. Right now it looks like it's just rain. You've got snow in Muscatine. Of course, it looks like most, if not all, of the Quad Cities is snow right now. And this is quickly moving to the southeast. So it's still liquid for Galesburg, Knoxville, and into Princeton and Kewaunee. But again, next 30, 45 minutes, this will all start changing to snow. And as I zoom this out, you can see there are definitely some heavier bands up here to the north. All of this has to come down to the south yet, and there's some heavier pockets of snow kind of built into this area up here. That's our concern as we get into the next several hours. Very dynamic system, and as I show you a little bit more of a wider view of the radar there, you can see where the low pressure is currently spinning. I'll mark that on your map. It's essentially sitting right over top of Chicago right now. This morning for GMQC, it was right over top of us, which is why we had the fog. We didn't have any wind. So here's the rain snow line, and it's going to continue to move to the southeast. So we're just about there to the total switchover, and once that happens, the winds are really going to begin to pick up. This is something, though, that I'm going to bring in Peter for, because it's been a far different story for our friends to the west. Earlier this morning, it was just a small little corridor of Interstate 80 that was completely closed, but now you can see it's a huge corridor of the interstate's been closed. And what are some of the things that you've been tracking over there in Des Moines this morning?
It's been crazy. We've seen significant pockets of snowfall with almost near heavy rates of snowfall, and especially those strong winds coming in out of the north. We've actually seen gusts peak over 60 miles per hour.
Wow, already?
Already this morning.
Wow.
And Lamoni in southern Iowa tracked a 63 mile per hour gust.
63.
Ames a 62 mile per hour gust.
Wow.
So take into account that north wind driving westbound on Interstate 80. It's like you're driving into a white wall with those stronger winds. And that's been a significant impact this morning, and we've really been trying to track that and break that down there. And there's also I-35 now, that closure on the way up to, as you can see there, on the way up to Ames, just out of Des Moines.
That little sliver right there, and I might be able to actually zoom into that to give you a little bit better view. When we get a little closer, sometimes the actual interstate labels will pop up for us. There we go. Yeah, you're right. From just north of Ankeny to just south of Ames, you've got Interstate 35 closed.
Mm-hmm. And there's been snowfall totals well over 4 inches. I think we're going to see. It's going to be immeasurable because of such strong winds we're seeing. But just look at this I-80 corridor. It's like you're practically in Nebraska by the time it gets to even drivable conditions, but they still recommend no travel throughout pretty much the whole western portion of the state of Iowa right now. They had that blizzard warning this morning, and it's actually still in effect till 3 p.m. as well. So it's been really impactful snow, wintry weather we've seen this morning.
Yeah, what a difference just a few hours drive to the west makes of the Quad Cities. Like you were saying, yeah, there's your blizzard warning, that dark orange. It does include Des Moines and really the central chunk in all of northern Iowa for the most part because of all those dangerous travel conditions. I've been watching the Iowa DOT traffic map this morning too. The amount of crashes that keep popping up, and it's not just single vehicle crashes. We're talking about multi-vehicle crashes keep popping up.
And one of the big things with that I-80 close down was there was a backup. I think it's around Prairie View Road, just near Waukee on I-80. There was a backup, pretty much no-go for the whole 2 hours of Good Morning Iowa this morning on our sister station.
What a mess.
It's pretty much stuck there until like the very end of the show. No cars were able to drive through.
Still stopped.
Yeah.
And that's what's been incredible. The fact that you mentioned those 60+ mile per hour wind gusts so early in the morning, because usually we see those later in the afternoon when we get the bigger difference in pressure because of those temperatures. But the fact that we're seeing them already this morning is a little concerning.
It is, yes. and I mean, they extended that high wind advisory now here towards us in the Quad Cities as well.
Yeah.
And I don't know what the time frame here, but they extended that till 6 p.m. in Des Moines. I think it's just about the same here now as well.
Yeah, going until 9.
9
about 3 hours later
now.
Yeah, so
extended it even further.
We're going to have these strong winds for quite a period of time, it looks like. And that's why we're concerned about scattered power outages. The only advantage you have to the wind this time of year is the trees have not got any leaves on them. So there's a little less pull on those branches, but still there's some weaker trees that are going to have some issues.
Weaker trees, and also the snowfall. Once you start to get a little bit of snow accumulating, or even some of that rain could freeze into ice, we could see some issues with that here as well.
Yeah, exactly.
And this storm in general has kind of been a little bit of an overperformer, just to a tad, a little bit already, so that's something to keep an eye on too.
Yeah, it's been coming in stronger with each passing run of data that we had leading up to the event. So the wind, of course, is going to be our concern coming up in a few hours. Right now, it's the snow. If you're curious what the wind speeds are going to look like as we head into the rest of today, I'll take you through that here on our wind gust tracker with Future Track, which has widespread 50-plus mile-per-hour wind gusts in here by the noon hour. And you see 60-plus on the Iowa side of the Mississippi River. And those winds will only continue to get stronger as we get through 2, 3, 4 o'clock this afternoon. That's really when I think most of these will peak, is as we get into the afternoon. And then you'll start to see these winds decrease, albeit slowly, as we head into this evening, with 40 to 50 gusts through at least 7 o'clock, and then we'll do 20 to 30 mile-per-hour gusts as we approach midnight. But still even some 40-mile-an-hour wind gusts before then are expected. So if you lay this out, you put it all on a timeline, the orange bars are what we call, those are the impactful gusts, the ones that could cause some issues with power outages and perhaps some minor property damage. And you notice we have orange bars all throughout until we get to about midnight tomorrow, because they're all 30-plus miles per hour. And you see the peak of those here in the Quad Cities right around 4 to 6 o'clock. So it's going to be coming in during your evening commute.
Yes.
And even though the snow's not falling, you have to remember that wind is still going to be pushing your vehicle all over the roadway, not to mention the vehicles surrounding you.
Especially in rural areas and bridges and overpasses. Rural areas, again, there's not going to be as many buildings as they slow down that wind or kind of funnel it in a certain direction. If you're driving in a rural area, say even from Quad Cities up due north towards Muscatine, driving through that rural area, you're going to get blown around. And also bridges and overpasses. Driving over the I-74 bridge, you're going to be blowing around in that wind. I mean, it is truly like significant winds and dangerous potential driving conditions.
Yeah, anytime you elevate yourself above the ground, like you said, a bridge and overpass, you're going to feel the wrath of those winds coming in really strong. And the wind's kind of coming in from the northwest here for the most part today, so it doesn't matter whether you're east-south, west-north or north-south, east-west roads. All of the roads seem to be having an impact.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. And we saw that with the road closures out near Des Moines, I-35 northbound and I-80 westbound. Both seeing the impacts.
Yeah, you both have both directions being impacted there. So, yeah, first snow now, then the wind. Then we're going to catch a little bit of a break tomorrow, a chance to breathe for a moment, because it looks like we're going to be dealing with another round of winter weather come Friday, and we do have a weather impact alert for that. The change I made this morning is I went from it just being a morning event to now an all-day event, and I'll show you why here, because the data has changed with this system coming in. But what I talked about this morning on Planet 93.9, no pain, no gain. We're going to go through the pain now, and we're really going to gain next week with the warmest temperatures that we've seen so far this year. And at first I looked at it and I said, you know what, mid-70s on Tuesday, is that a possibility? Yes, it is very much a possibility. I notice not everyone in this market is going with 70s next week, but I'm confident enough that we are going to hit at least the low 70s on Monday. And then if we get enough sun on Tuesday, those mid 70s are going to be a real possibility.
Oh, it's going to be great.
Yeah.
Bear with us.
A lot of you are going to be so much happier next week.
I know. Just bear through this week.
Yeah.
We're there. I'm waiting for those golf courses to open. I'm just slowly checking them.
Yes.
Oh, I'm so excited.
There's going to be so many of them ready to go next week. It's going to be amazing. Let me show you the run of Future Track really quickly when it comes to Friday's storm system and why, again, I made this an all-day Friday event. So I'm going to skip past Thursday. Let me jump into Friday. Let me scoot back just a little bit more, because it looks like the timing on this is a mix of rain and snow coming in late Thursday night. So we really don't need an impact alert for Thursday, because by this we're talking about just a few hours left in the day itself. But you get to that Friday morning and it's going to come in as this mix of rain and snow that kind of sticks around for most of the morning. And actually, if this works out, we are looking at a good chance of some accumulating snow here in the Quad Cities through the Friday morning commute. We'll take you through the mid-morning on Friday. It's still snowing.
Still snowing.
Lightly, though, a little bit lighter. The afternoon, this band just kind of slowly sinks to the south. And then by the evening commute, we're kind of out of it. And not much more to see. Do you want to see the initial look? Maybe we can get the initial look at the future track snowfall projections. Let me pull those up really quickly. Now, keep in mind, this is the raw data that has not been adjusted by myself or anybody else here yet. So we're going to look at this for the first time together. And there you see, yeah, there is some light snow potential here. One of the things this model does not factor in very nicely is the fact that our ground is now warmer because we've been so warm lately. So I think this is on the high end. Right now, if I would say like an inch or less for most of us. You see it's 2.2 here in the Quad Cities. Yeah, not too excited about 2 inches of snow. I think an inch is more than likely going to be a better bet. But again, this is not for today. This is just focusing on Friday's system with that band of snow hanging around Interstate 80 for a good chunk of the day.
Yeah, another impactful system.
Yeah.
Well, I would hope we're done with the snow after this.
I would hope so
I think
too.
the trend is there potentially, but
Yeah.
you never know.
Exactly. March is we've always said
weird.
it's an oddball month.
It's weird.
It is such a weird month, and this is proving that point. Before we get to your questions, I want to recap what happened on Ask Andrew this morning. That question that we had, it is daylight saving time coming back into place this weekend.
Ooh,
Are you excited?
Yeah, I think so. I like the later sunsets. That's something I really
Yes.
like. So I will say I like later sunsets. I'm still getting used to it in general as a whole.
Yeah. Even though you're on our shift now for a
Yes.
while, you still like those later sunsets,
do.
and I'm the same way too. I like to just sit outside for those late evening sunsets and just zen for a few minutes.
Oh, it's the best.
Yeah, it is such a
the
great
best.
feeling. So a couple of scenarios for you, and this was the question that came in. I believe it was from Amanda this morning. How's my brain working? It's working.
Oh, it's working.
Amanda from Moline, and I didn't even have breakfast yet. What would happen if we stay on DST all year long? And this is something I bring up every single year because we have lawmakers that are trying to put us on standard time for the whole year. They want to get rid of daylight saving time. And then there's folks in the other camp that said, well, let's just get on daylight saving time and let's just stay on it all year.
That's true.
Not change it again.
debate.
Yeah. So here's two different scenarios for you. And one thing to keep in mind, this is not for the entire time. These are extremes that will take place for a period of about 3 weeks when you make this switch. So right now in the winter, nothing changes because we don't observe daylight saving time. So this scenario on your left is if we get rid of DST once and for all and we never go back. The only problem with this one is look what happens in the summer. And for us, it's not really a problem on this shift because I would love a sunrise at 4:15. That means that we start our day off in the sun here on GMQC and Good Morning Iowa. But this is a problem if you have kids because a lot of kids like to follow the sun cycle in terms of their sleep schedule.
That's true.
So do you want little Johnny or little Jane, knocking on your bedroom door at 4:15 in the morning saying, guess what? It's time to wake up and start the day. I don't know how I would feel about that. What's the other alternative? We make daylight saving time year round. We just get on it and we don't get off of it. Well, this is another problem too because, of course, we're used to this in the summer. This is what we follow right now. That's no big deal. But here's the problem in the winter, and this goes back to parents too. You don't get a sunrise until nearly 8:30 in the morning during the winter for a period of about 3 weeks. And a lot of parents don't like that because your kids are going to school in the dark.
I don't like that either.
Yeah, and there's a lot of kids that walk to school. That's not very safe. So, thinking about that, if you went to daylight saving time year round, really the only thing you could do to avoid that is to start school later for that short period of time. Maybe start school at 9 a.m. and get out just a little bit later.
Even an 8:45 start?
Yeah.
I had that at some points.
Yeah, so that's the only solution I have to that problem right there. That's not a fun one for anybody,
No.
the fact that we're not getting any sun until 8:30. So it's one of those pick your poison kind of things. Personally, I don't mind the changes. If we were going to pick one, I'm with the majority of you that I surveyed last year. The majority of you, 50%, wanted the year-round DST. You wanted to get on DST, not get off of it.
Ooh.
The rest of you were kind of split, whether you wanted to just keep it the way it is now or you wanted to just get rid of it altogether.
I'm with you too. I like the sunsets.
I
Give me
do.
the sunsets.
Yeah.
More sunlight.
Yeah, exactly.
Later in the afternoon, more fishing, especially if you're a night person, which until
Yeah.
recently I was a night person. I can go fishing, play golf late.
Yeah.
It was the best.
It is so nice, isn't it? We're
is the
looking
best.
forward to those days.
We are.
We'll get to some of your questions that you have now. We took a little bit more longer on the discussion, but again, this is such a high impact storm coming in. Wanted to make sure we spent some time on that so you guys know what to expect for the rest of today.
Yes. And Deborah, I would just like to note, I said drive up to Muscatine. I meant Macokota. You are correct. Muscatine is to our southwest.
They're both great cities.
They're both great. I
Both
just met
great
Macokota.
cities.
Yeah.
Muscatine's weird because I look at Muscatine on the map and it's like, it's not that far away.
No.
But then when you go to drive to Muscatine from the Quad Cities, it's like, it's 45 minutes away. Yeah.
In my head,
it's weird.
But yes, you are right. I meant Maquoketa there. So I just want to get that off the ground. Yes.
Shout out to Maquoketa.
Yes. We love Maquoketa and Muscatine. Crystal Pruitt was wondering what will Sterling get in terms of totals.
So snowfall totals, you're likely less than an inch. I think it's lower totals the farther east you go, because what's going to happen is, and I'll go back to the regional view, as this system is kind of wrapping itself up, I'm going to get off the road conditions. This is what I want to look at. As this system is wrapping itself up, it's nearing its peak intensity, if it hasn't already.
Yes.
And what's going to happen is you're going to get dry air that works around the system. And you can already see to the north how this snow is kind of breaking up. So the farther east you go, the Quad Cities, the more of that broken snow band you're going to get. Whereas you see the Iowa side here is more of a solid snow band. So yeah, Illinois side, you're not going to see too much snow. But the wind, you will not escape.
Everyone's getting the wind today.
Nobody's escaping that.
Yes.
I don't care what rock you hide under.
Yeah, and I think we just saw the strongest re-intensification of the system right when we saw that switch over to the snow here, because of the one, we got kind of one last push right around 8 to 9 o'clock. And I think everything after this is going to kind of slowly settle.
Yeah, slowly sink to the south.
Yes.
But it's going to be windy.
Yes.
Oof.
Let's go to Tyler. With all the rain and now snow plus falling temperatures, could that lead to a flash freeze tonight?
We were talking about that yesterday.
We were.
How there is likely going to be some ice that we're going to have to deal with, especially because, we're going right from rain to snow, and it's initially a wet, heavy snow.
Yes.
So you're going to have to be careful with some of those roads this evening as the temperatures drop into the 30s. Probably not so much tomorrow on a widespread basis, but we think scattered, patchy areas of
especially neighborhood streets where there's not as many people driving over it, or plows aren't going to be reaching that. I don't know if they're going to be sending out the plows today for this much, but that's still something to maybe keep an eye on as your neighborhood local streets.
I wouldn't be surprised if they do some salting, maybe some brining as this transition occurs. But yeah, we're not expecting like an inch or 2 inches on the street. This is mostly going to be in your grassy surfaces.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. And they've also not been able to salt yet because of the rain.
That's true. I mean, it's no use salting right now with the rain because it just washes away.
Goes by.
So we're waiting for that switch over for everyone.
Dave and Marvin was wondering, the salt trucks will be nowhere in sight. That is correct, because of the rain.
Because of the rain, yeah. We're waiting for that all to transition over.
Dave was wondering, what can we expect in Peru?
So Peru, you are even further east.
Yes.
So you're still going to get the wind. You're going to have wind gusts up to 50 miles an hour. You are under a wind advisory, but you're not going to be seeing a ton in the way of snow.
No.
Maybe a dusting at best that far east, if that. So this is all wind for you in Peru.
Everyone.
Yep.
Expect lots of wind.
Lots of wind, yes.
Kind of like what we saw, was that Friday last week with the howling winds?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And those got strong. I mean, woof.
I know. And we thought they were going to be like that. And I think they got even a little bit higher.
They
so
did.
There's that potential today.
They overperformed.
Again, overperforming. Yeah. Catherine goes, I thought we would expect more, but we didn't get nothing. Well,
in terms of the current storm, I'm assuming?
Yes.
Catherine's going to have to give us her location. Yeah, the location will be very helpful because, of course, depending on where you live, that's where the impacts are going to be different.
Yes. And again, temperatures play a massive role in this too.
Yeah, this was not a storm that we were advertising that was going to have a ton of snow.
No.
This was a storm that we were advertising as a big rain maker and a big wind maker. And I'm really curious to see the rainfall totals too. I'm going to try and add those up for GMQC at 11 because I really want to see how much rain a lot of places got.
I think I saw radar indications just around half an inch to an inch and a half or more here around the Quad Cities.
That sounds about right. We weren't expecting like 3 to 4 inches of rain. No. None of us, at least at this station, advertised 3 to 4 inches of rain.
No.
We had it closer to about an inch to an inch and a half, 2 inches at most on the high end.
Yes.
So yeah, that's what this storm has been. It has not been a snowmaker. It has been a rain and a wind maker, and that's what we've advertised it as such.
Fred in Kiwani asks, while showing Doppler radar returns, the southwest corner of Henry County, Illinois, always shows light activity while no precipitation is occurring or forecasted. What is causing these returns?
So that is a fantastic question.
Great question.
Oh, we love this. Getting into radar dynamics now. Ooh. So with Doppler radar, what happens is we are sending out a beam at a consistent range of elevations. The farther away from the radar you live, for example, all the way there in Bureau County, the higher into the clouds we are scanning. And the reason for that is the Earth is round.
Yes.
So the farther away from the radar you're going, the higher up that radar beam is shooting. Whereas right here in the Quad Cities, like in the metro, we have a lower radar beam because the Earth has not curved as much here versus when you go out to Princeton.
No.
So you're always going to see, whether it's Princeton, I'd say all the way up to Dubuque, Iowa City, Cedar Rapids, you're going to see a lot of what we call virga, and that is rain or any kind of snow precipitation that's in the upper levels of the clouds but may not be reaching the ground.
They won't be reaching the ground.
Yeah.
No, there's not. And also there are little obstructions that we'll see here on the radar as well.
Yes, and I think there's an example of that right now. We can zoom it in if you want to talk about an obstruction. It's right here. Is it going to go?
Ooh.
Oh, let's try again. If I have to do it manually, I'll do it manually. There we go. Do you see that little, kind of like a little
Line.
gap in the radar data? There's a building out by the Davenport Airport that is blocking the radar beam, and it's not able to get through that. So that's why that line is consistently there. Is it dangerous? Is it life-threatening during severe weather? No. It's a small enough gap that we're not missing any details, but that's an example of things that can block the radar beam.
Yep, and there's another as we go to the northwest here, you can also see that other one. I know that one is
There's
because
the
of
other
some
one.
silos
Yes.
just near the Davenport Airport.
It's a V shape.
Yes.
Which is kind of cool to look at. But yeah, it's not dangerous to have those. It's just a side effect of the technology we're using right now. Now, the newer technology will likely not have this problem. And that's a deep tease into our severe weather special coming out in a couple of weeks. Stay tuned.
Stay tuned.
Stay tuned.
We got more coming.
We got more coming.
Let's see. Cheryl said it's snowing in Galesburg and the wind's picking up.
So snow in Galesburg now.
Yes.
Let's see, does it match the radar? Now again, radar is a best guess based on temperature data. And it doesn't look like it's picking up at least a lot, but a couple.
Couple spots.
Couple little spots there.
Yeah. Tyler, said it's snowing heavy in Davenport now. Yeah. This first burst is going to be pretty heavy here too.
Oh yeah.
It's going to be kind of the one heavy moment almost we'll see with this system. And let's see, Jerry from Davenport, why is there no pink transitions happening? Because the cold front behind it?
Exactly. It's a quick drop-off in temperature. It's not that gradual drop-off. This is a very quick, we're talking temperatures falling several degrees in a matter of 10 minutes or less. Yes. So you're not seeing a change to freezing rain or sleet and then snow. It's an immediate change from rain to snow. It's a very, very fast process. This process, this transition, it's much quicker compared to a transition where you're going from, for example, say, snow to freezing rain or freezing rain to rain. It's a much, much faster transition. The other transition is much slower.
Yes. And the air aloft too is much colder, dropping, sinking into this warmer air.
Because cold air is dense.
Cold air
it weighs
sinks.
a lot more, and when that stuff drops, it drops.
Oh, that was nice and sync.
It's not like a feather, going like this. It is just, we were in sync. That was awesome.
Nice. Oh, goodness. Let's see. Yeah, some more. Another report of snow in Galesburg from Amy.
Right.
Spring ahead, winter behind us. Yes.
That's right.
That
Well,
is
we
right.
hope. We hope.
How much longer with more snow? Lennon is wondering.
For today, we're going to wrap up the snow for most of us by noon. Yes. Are we done with snow for the rest of March? No, because we have that snow coming in on Friday. And I can't say that we're not going to see any more snow for the rest of the month either.
No.
I mean,
can't rule that out.
No. You can have mid-70s next week. You can have a cold front come through and drop you back down to the 30s.
We could see snow in early April.
Yeah.
There's even a potential for that.
Yeah.
Is it likely? Probably not.
The odds are not in your favor.
There's still the chance.
But they're not
And
zero.
you can't rule it out.
Yeah.
So that's kind of the...
He knows. He's not even from here, and he knows this.
Yes.
He knows you can't trust Mother Nature.
No. No. We've seen snow in Phoenix, so that's how I know you can never count out snow.
Exactly.
If we've seen snow in Phoenix, you'll see maybe another chance here.
We're smart when it comes to that.
Yes. Hi, Allison. Allison says hi.
Oh, is that our Allison?
That's our Allison.
Oh, hi, Allison. Hopefully you guys watched her debut on GMQC Weekends.
She's been killing it.
Yeah. So Morgan's just going to spend some time with some family for a little bit, and then Allison's going to help fill in, which is awesome.
It's awesome. She's doing such a great job.
Yeah.
Such a great job.
No worries. Morgan is still around. She's not going anywhere.
Yes.
She is still with us. She's just spending some time with some family for a bit.
Yes. Much needed.
Yes.
Billy was wondering, do you know how many tornadoes happened down on the southern states last night?
Ooh, good question. We can actually look, thanks to our friends at the Storm Prediction Center. We can look at the storm reports. I know we saw some
There's
damage.
a lot. And I know there was one slight one I saw near Fort Worth that initially wasn't reported, but radar indicated it. And you could see the debris from it. Oh,
It's impressive.
that's a hefty one.
They got 7 so far logged.
7 so far.
Yeah.
Wow.
Everywhere from Oklahoma to Louisiana. It looks like a lot of wind reports in Texas mainly. No tornado reports in Texas. Just wind.
Wow. Kicking off spring season, right?
That's right. It's only a matter of time before that lifts north.
It's coming.
It is.
It's coming.
In due time.
CJ said, wet snow in Geneseo, hearing the wind now too. So it's
Thanks, CJ.
Yeah, thank
Yeah.
you. We love the reports. CJ is helpful, but everyone is helpful.
Everyone is helpful. Yes.
Everyone with the report.
Yeah.
We love getting those in.
Yeah.
Here, we'll get one more question in here. When should we see the strongest winds in Davenport from Tyler?
I think Tyler's strongest winds are coming in this afternoon. Let's pull up the wind tracker chart again thing here. It's a little bit easier to read this than to try and keep track of all those numbers changing on the map. This is just kind of a summary of that. So strongest winds, I would say between 2 and 6 o'clock. This afternoon into this evening. We will still get gusts up to 50 at 8 and even 9 o'clock this evening before they subside. But yeah, it certainly appears this afternoon into the early evening. That is your timing for the strongest winds.
Perfect.
We love it. Well, that's going to wrap it up for this episode of Ask Andrew Live. We appreciate you coming along for the ride. Always appreciate you, Peter, helping out with Ask
Thank you for
Andrew
having
Live.
me. It's so much fun.
You are the best. Of course, we want to give a shout out.
He's the best.
Oh, please. We want to give a shout out to Brandy, our director, Brandy Duncan. Also, Alec for helping as well behind the scenes, our digital go-to guy.
Yes.
They're all awesome people. We look forward to seeing you next week, same time, same place. Don't forget, we have GMQC at 11 also coming up later this morning. We'll continue to track this late season winter storm. Stay safe and stay warm. We'll see you later.
Continue with us and watch free now on the 8 Plus app everywhere you stream.